Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. It is Vlogmas Day 11. If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. This year for Vlogmas, I am doing the whole series about modifiers. So if you haven't had a chance to check out the other videos that I've done, I hope that you will look at the playlist in the description box below. So let us begin. Today's modifiers are going to be the anesthesia physical status modifiers, and you can find the definition of these in the CPT Professional edition by the AMA. And then I'm going to be reading a little bit more about what these modifiers mean from a website that I found. So let us begin. All right, so from the Appendix A of the CPT manual, it reads, anesthesia physical status modifiers. The physical status modifiers are consistent with the American Society of Anesthesiologists ranking of patient physical status and distinguish various levels of complexity of the anesthesia service provided. All anesthesia services are reported by the use of the anesthesia 5-digit procedure code 00100 through 01999 is the range, with the appropriate physical status modifier appended. So the example they have here is 00100 with a P1 modifier. Under certain circumstances, when another established modifier is appropriate, it should be used in addition to the physical status modifier. So the example they give here is example 00100 with a P4 modifier with a 53 modifier. So we all know what 53 means. If you haven't watched the part of the series, which was yesterday's video, I'd be sure to check it out. All right, so beginning with P1, physical status modifier P1 is for a normal, healthy patient. P2 is for a patient with mild systemic disease. P3 is a patient with severe systemic disease. P4 is a patient with severe systemic disease that is a constant threat to life. P5 is a moribund patient who is not expected to survive without the operation. And P6 is a declared brain dead patient whose organs are being removed for donor purposes. So with all that said, keep in mind that those P modifiers of P1 to P5, or yes, P6, P1 to P6 are going to apply to the anesthesia code set only, and they're going to be the first listed modifiers. So keep that in mind. Now, just to give an example of the of what each level means, I am reading from the website for, I want to get the name right, the National Center for Biotechnology Information, the U.S. National Library of Medicine. So this is their website, which I will be leaving in the description box below. And this is just giving you more of a definition of what these status modifiers mean, right? So for a P1, a normal healthy patient, the example is a fit, non-obese, the BMI is under 30, a non-smoking patient with good exercise tolerance. And then a P2 modifier would be somebody with mild systemic disease. So the example that they give here is a patient with no functional limitations and a well-controlled disease like treated hypertension, obesity with a BMI under 35, and then a frequent social drinker or a cigarette smoker. So you see how the risk kind of goes up because they have, while they have something, it is controlled. And so that's what they're talking about there. P3 would be a patient with severe systemic disease that is not life-threatening. For example, a patient with a functional limitation due to disease like poorly treated hypertension or diabetes, morbid obesity, chronic renal failure, a bronchospastic disease with intermittent exacerbation, stable angina, or an implanted pacemaker. So that is somebody that it's going up little by little on these physical status, like it's becoming more of a high risk, right? And then the P4 would be a patient with severe systemic disease that is a constant threat to life. And the example that they have here is a patient with functional limitation from severe life-threatening disease like unstable angina, poorly controlled COPD, symptomatic CHF or congestive heart failure, recent, less than 3 months ago, myocardial infarction or a stroke. So anytime you are having to code for a patient who has a little bit more elevated level of risk, right, is when that P, those P modifiers, is that what we can call them, right, will change. And so you need to be very careful and look at and truly understand what it means to be able to apply these modifiers, because not everybody that comes in and gets a surgery is going to be a P1 modifier. Not everybody that comes in is going to be a P2 modifier. So really take the time to fully understand what these modifiers stand for. The next one is a P5, which is a moribund patient who is not expected to survive without the operation. The patient is not expected to survive beyond the next 24 hours without surgery. For example, ruptured abdominal aortic aneurysm or a massive trauma and extensive intracranial hemorrhage with mass effect. So again, it goes higher and higher as the patient becomes more of a risk. And finally, the P6 modifier is a brain dead patient whose organs are being removed with the intention of transplanting them into another patient. So that's how they're able to distinguish these. Remember, these are always going to be the first listed modifier on the anesthesia codes. Now, I am going to be doing a separate video about first listed modifiers, okay, and how you should order the modifiers, because it does affect how the story is being told when the modifiers are applied correctly versus incorrectly, okay? So you always want to make sure that you get it, which is why I'm doing the whole series first about the modifiers individually, and then we're going to go into those combination ones. But I wanted to point that out with the order, because it says there in the anesthesia section as well that this modifier, the P, the status, physical status modifier goes first, followed by the other one. And the example here was the, what was it, P3, P4, and then a 53 modifier went after that. So if you don't know what 53 is, I hope that you will check out the playlist. Yes, that was a shameless plug for my modifier playlist. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I hope you continue to enjoy the series. If you are looking forward to a particular modifier, please let me know in the comments below. And if you don't know if you've checked it out yet, check out the rest of the playlist as well. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Please like this. If it helped you, please share it, because it may help somebody else. And when it comes to asking questions and you're a student, or even if you are a veteran coder, there is no shame in asking questions. And sometimes when we share information and we just happen to look and listen to it, it does help, because we don't always know the questions to ask. And as we expose our brain to all of these things about medical coding, because we have to know what doctors know while never having gone to medical school, is my favorite saying. The more we expose our brains to these things, the better off we are. So sometimes if you are in study fatigue and you just want to listen, these modifiers or anything that is talking about medical coding will always help. So at least that's just my advice anyway. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see y'all for tomorrow's Vlogmas. All right, bye.